a successful career. So I really believe there's three things that make someone able to be successful. And we could go back to the basketball analogy, Thomas, because I like those. The first one is what your talents and strengths are, so what you're already great at. The second component that needs to be there is the passion. And something that Julie said earlier that I want to touch on really quick is growing up, I was exceptional in math. I just always had A's. I didn't have to try hard. And the reason I'm sharing this is because my parents were like, well, you should be an accountant. To which I said, hell no, because it's not fun for me. I'm not passionate about it. I'm good at it. I'm still good at it, but I'm not passionate. Like doing my own accounting, crunching numbers in my company is like my least favorite thing to do. So even though I'm really good at it, naturally, I'm not passionate at it at all. And so those two components are missing. And then the third component, which I think it takes enough effort for us, most of us, to think of how our strengths and passions align, right? First, we need to know what our main strengths are, what we're great at, not good at, Julie, and then align them with our passion. But then the third component that most people don't think is, what are people's needs and wants? So the reason I love a Michael Jordan analogy is because everybody knows who he is, and it's a really clear and easy way to see it. So what I say is Michael Jordan is naturally talented at basketball. That's a given, and he's passionate about it. So he, like Thomas said, him and Kobe Bryant, nobody works harder than those guys, and that's why I respect them so much as human beings and athletes, because when you're good at something, that was the other point I was gonna make. When we're really good at something or naturally talented, it's so easy to just take it for granted, right? If I'm just really good at something, I don't spend time like trying to chip away at it. We just don't, right? We take it for granted. We don't put as much work into it because we just know it's gonna be there. We really do. We take our strengths and talents for granted. So that's another reason why I think people don't spend as much time in addition to the pain. But the third component, what do people need and want, is that last part that brings it all together, our contribution, and that's what this episode is about, is how we're aligning our strengths and talents with our passion and purpose. So what's our purpose? What's our contribution? What do people need and want? So we have to start asking ourselves that. Because if I think I'm a great presenter and I'm passionate about it, but no one else thinks I'm great and people don't need that and it's not helpful to them, then there's really no reason for me to make that something that's going to be my career. Sure, I can make it a hobby and just practice in the mirror and have fun. There's nothing wrong with that, but if I'm really wanting to have a successful career or business, then I need to think about people's needs and wants. So when you think about Michael Jordan, he's got the talent, he's got the passion, and he's got the need and want. Everybody loves sports, right? They watch sports. So there's that demand there that's already inherent. So he's doing something that he's great at, he's passionate about, and there's a demand for what he's doing. Does that make sense to everybody? So he had the Holy Trinity. So I think it's just a really easy example of that. So I gave an example a few minutes ago about what it's like to be great at something but not have any passion about it. So now I'm going to give you an example on the opposite end of having an intense passion but not being great at it. So growing up, and I know people that have seen this presentation last year here, or anyone that's seen some of my speeches I talk about, when I was a kid, basketball, I gave up other sports. I started playing year-round. I practiced every day for hours. And I would play with kids older than me. I was on traveling teams. But the problem is no matter how hard I practiced, no matter how passionate about it I was, and I really did think that I could, my goal was that I wanted to go pro, is that I wasn't great at it. I was good at best. Good at best would probably be still giving me a little more credit. Sure, I made the All-Stars a few times growing up, but comparatively, when I got to the high school level, I got cut from the team, and it was just so it wasn't something that came natural to me. And I noticed if I didn't practice for 2 weeks, I would just be off, and it didn't come natural, and I was jealous of people that would always play well, and I was like, dude, how often do you play? Because I play every day, and they're like, I haven't played in a month, and that's where I really saw it, is these people are naturally great at this, and I'm not. And I had to eventually, give up that little pipe dream of being a pro basketball player and realize that, like, obviously this wasn't what Scott was put on this earth for, and just, it's okay that I'm passionate about it, but it's not what I'm meant to do. Does that